Hi Sam, happy 30th birthday. How are you? Oh, hi Sam. I'm doing great. I'm just doing my best time right now. Oh my god, I have a little secret. Oh, I see you have a girlfriend. She looks amazing for her age. What's her skincare routine? Oh no, she's just really young. Oh, is she? Well, did you just misgender her? Okay. Is she like 24 or like yeah, is she like 24 or 25? Oh no. She's a teen. What huh? Yeah, she's 19. That is not a good thing. That's a little teenage girl. But it's legal. Like over 18 is over 18, duh. But it's neurologically horrible and kind of concerning. And also why? Why? She's not 21 or older. Oh, big difference. Huge difference, Drake. Huge difference. That is disgusting. That is absolutely maniacal, and I'm surprised you would do that. Why would you do that? That is no, no. I rebuke. I rebuke all of this. That is no, no more. Shun, shun. I am calling Dateline. That is why would you do that? Why would you do that to your background check? What background check? That background check. That is. Mm, mm, okay. I want to leave. I want to leave. The door's that way. Yeah, yeah. Which person do I agree with? Do I agree with the person who is disgusted, or do I agree with the person with a 19-year-old girlfriend? I think you know the answer. I agree with the person that is disgusted. And why? Well, that brings us to the podcast. It's LED Yan, not LED Dawn, and today we are going to bring you to the topic of why age really does matter on the LED Yan podcast. Before we get into today's topic, I really want to shout out to my biggest sponsor, my biggest patron ever, myself, the one and only LED Yan. Remember, it's LED Yan, not LED Dawn. Trying to go through a rebrand, not rebrand, because I don't really need a rebrand right now. I just need eras. I'm not really a JoJo Siwa, but you get it, you get it. But basically, I'm sponsored by myself. I'm basically making a bunch of entertainment stuff. I'm trying to be like the new Roku channel. I'm trying to be like the Netflix but free, because like YouTube, I love YouTube. That's how I got my start. They don't really pay good, but I also don't want to be like that person that has like subscriptions and capitalism, blah blah blah. So instead, I have like a free service where you can just watch shows, watch movies and stuff, listen to this podcast and listen to music and all that jazz, all for free. Even some video games. Actually, I'm working on 15 video games right now, and you can do and play, watch, listen, all of those for free. You just have to listen to a buckload of ads. And if you think, oh wait, ad blocker, don't worry. I'm gonna have like a little window thing that says you can't use ad blocker, because like my website's free. And also don't pirate my content, because you can't really pirate free content. So yeah, as long as you don't like steal my copyrighted works, I'm fine. Um, yeah, yeah. That's pretty much it. So, getting back to the video, I'm like a non-profit, although I'm not really donating to anything. So I'm just a free service. I in exchange for you acknowledging me as a celebrity and acknowledging my existence, because that's how I get paid. Okay, so delving right back into the topic on why age isn't really just a number, going from things like brain development and stages and age ranges, and how each of those age ranges will think differently, especially with cognitive function and the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and all that jazz, and how someone of an older nature could manipulate someone of the teen nature, and why they shouldn't really be considered adults. So, why? So basically, when you live in certain stage of your life, you're like, I don't know what it is, but like there is something that changes right when you turn the age of like 21 or something like that. Because like mostly you're actually according to kidshealth.org.nz, you're pretty young. Like well, you're always young, but basically like how can I explain this? Like when you're from age 5 to 20, not much changes, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, there will be difference between 2 years between different ages. Obviously, like, if you're a 16-year-old, I don't recommend you date a 19-year-old, but I don't recommend a 19-year-old to date a 22-year-old either. So, yeah, basically, yeah, nothing really changes that much when you're from age 5 to 20. While when you're 21, something actually does. It's actually the reason why in the States the drinking age is 21. It's simply because, like, we're, we're responsible. Like, because it's like your 20s, you're supposed to be irresponsible, but because you're like 21, you're not going to be as bad as like a 20-year-old drinking. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you go to a European, they get into brawls and fights. Over here, it's just you drunk. You get what I'm saying? You know. Let's see. According to Paradigm, actually, I'm gonna hold on. Wait a minute. Translator. Okay, Paradigm. Is that how it's pronounced? Definition. Let me Google it. Paradigm. Okay, paradigm. So according to paradigmtreatment.org, PR, well no, not PR, PARADIGMTREATMENT.com. According to Lucy Nguyen, uh, let's see, one of the biggest differences researchers have found is that between adults and adolescents is the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is still developing in teenagers, then doesn't really complete its growth until the early mid 20s. The prefrontal cortex performs reasoning, planning, judgment, and impulse control, necessities for being an adult. Without the fully development of the prefrontal cortex, a teen may make poor decisions and lack the inability to discern whether a situation is safe or not. A teen tends to experience with risky behavior and don't fully recognize the consequences of their choices. Bada boom bang. So, yeah. And according to, did I already mention this other one? According to Kids Health, blah blah blah. Um, the usually teenagers will think with the amygdala, and the yeah, that where it would control emotion. So teenagers would typically recognize emotions with emotions. So they'll probably focus on like context clues and mixed messages where someone will be like, "Oh, I'm fine," and then you immediately know they're not fine. While adult tends to focus on body language, facial structure, well, not facial structure, but facial expressions and context. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So why is the age of consent 18 and 19 in most countries? It's simply because like historically we don't really focus on like science, sadly. We don't focus on brain development. I do think the age of consent should be at least 21 or at least like 20 at most. But it is true that we did have it a lot worse back then. Compared to majority of countries, the most common age of consent is actually 12 or 10 years old, which is kind of concerning considering that Chile was the only logical country back then where their age of consent was 20. So, that is this is the 1880s according to chnm.gmu.edu, children and youth in history. um, there is a It was the age of consent laws of the time of the 1880s all the way to the 1920s and then changed to the 2007. So remember, the age of consent we think now is from 2007. That's concerning. That is actually maniacal. Considering that the norm in the 1880s was 12 or 10 years old, that is ah not something I would think about. And the worst thing is like it just and in some countries there's still age of consent The where it's like 16 years old or 14 years old. No, I don't agree with that at all. So yeah, no, ma'am. There's people out there who actually think, oh, but she's legal, so it's okay to date her. Where I don't really think that should be the case. Like I understand law, I understand from like a working point of view, like from work. You get what I'm saying? But like things like sexual things and stuff, like I feel like that's grooming. You get what I'm saying? Because why? You know, like someone who's like 20 or younger, it's not they're not gonna be aware that they're being like targeted for like from like a pedo. You get what I'm saying? Like, ew, ew, disgusting. So I think that's really self-explanatory. Like I don't really have to delve in. That's like the age of consent back then in history, and I don't really know. Mm, just no. I'm sorry. I just don't think that's a good thing, and I don't have to say why. That's just not a good thing. So why is this so important to you, Ellie? Well, let's talk about Israel's IDF. When you're the military age is actually 18 and you're supposed to go for 2 years, meaning that these people aren't even finished with their teens yet. So, yeah, like the very end of your teens is like the end of 20, I believe, or like 19. But yeah, these are basically like teenagers colonizing Palestinian land. Like, imagine a teenager blowing your brains out. Like, that's not really something I want to hear, but they are being groomed. I'd say, like, the Israeli teenagers are being groomed into the IDF Israeli military, and that's not something that I want to, like, know about. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's much more evil. Well, it's obviously evil considering that Netanyahu, whatever his name is, whoever the leader of Israel is commanding this. I don't think it's a good idea for you know to have teenagers murk a bunch of Palestinians, especially children. I don't think that's a good idea. Like they should know better. Um, and I think that's absolutely horrible. I donated like $2 to the PCRF, but the fact that people had to say children instead of just people proves how sociopathic people can be. Because again, they're still human. You know what I'm saying? So like, what about the Palestinian men? What about Palestinian women? What about Palestinian teenagers? What about Palestinian children? Like, I don't understand why we have to direct the attention towards children when we should direct Palestinians as a whole as a way to save them, since they are a product of modern colonization. And we also have to acknowledge that Palestinians are diverse. It is not a religious issue. I don't understand why. It Zionism does come from like Ashkenazi Jewish people, which is basically like white Jews. If you don't know, Ashkenazi Jewish people are from Central and Eastern Europe. Sephardi Jewish people, another white group, are from Western Europe. Someone from like North Africa, West Asia, the Middle East. Yeah, the brown parts of the world. They would be like Mizrahim Jewish people, and then obviously a Yemenite Jew, a Saudi Arabian Jew, Arab Jews, duh. And then there's like, let's see, what else could there be? There's also Beta Israeli, which is basically Afro Jewish people that live in Ethiopia. And then there's Kaifeng Jews, which are from China. They're Asian Jews. And then there's Central Asian Jews. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hold on. Wait. What are these Central... Oh, hold on. Let me Google. Central Asian Jews. Central Asian Jews. The Jahudi, Israel, Bain Israel. How do you pronounce these? It means sons or descendants of Israel. Okay, okay. Central Asian Jews. And then there's the Bakharan Jews. Oh, there they are. Yeah. And then, yeah, there's like multiple different groups. But, and then there's, what else is there? I feel like I'm missing something. There's also Indian Jews. I don't know how to pronounce any of these, actually. But there's one that's where it's like, hold on, CHO. So CH. Hold on, Cochin Jews, Cochini Jews, Cochini Jews. How you pronounce it? Cochin Jews. These are the oldest group of Jews in India with roots that are claimed to be King Solomon. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. Cochin, Cochin. I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay, but yeah, Jewish people, they're like they're like an ethnicity within an ethnicity. They're an ethno religion. So what I'm saying is like there's multiple different ethnic groups that are simultaneously Jewish. If that makes sense. So I'm just saying like Jews are obviously more like diverse than we think. And just because someone's Jewish doesn't necessarily mean they support Israel or are Israeli. I just don't think that's a good idea. That teenagers are being sent to colonize Palestine because like that's like a double edged sword there because like again these IDF soldiers are being groomed to conquer or no not conquer colonize commit humanitarian crisis against Palestinians while also Israel's grooming militarists to commit these humanitarian crises. So that is honestly disgusting to me that we're still committing modern colonization. Yeah, that's the genocide. But that's the importance right there. And now we're delving back into my story time. So tea spill of the day. So basically there's this girl, right? And there's this like dude who's massively older and I never understood how they met. But after like researching them, they're like an influencer. I'm not gonna name drop them, but she's like what, like 18 and he's like very well into his late 20s. So I'm just like, ooh, not really good. You know what I'm saying? So oh that's just my AirPods, sorry. But that's just not good to me because like there's obviously a difference between a 19, 18-year old 20-year old dating someone who's literally 27. I don't think that's a good idea. You know, if you're over the age of 25 you shouldn't be messing with teenage girls. Actually, if you're older than 22, don't. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like people, if you are in this type of relationship, you are gonna regret it. But I don't think you should be in this type of relationship if you're the influencer watching this. But that's just not right. Because people forget that they can be quite dangerous in situations like this. Like even sexually, like there's a difference between the body of a 16 through 20 from 21 to 25 like body wise cuz like someone who's 20 to 25 and then 26 to 30 is that their body is much stronger than someone who is a teenager, just a really buff teenager or like just a teenager in general. And there are cases where people died. You know, there I think there was like this 18-year-old girl who was messing with a 30-year-old and she died in the process. So bring with that with you, Will. Very tough topic to talk about. But I'm if you are, I just date somebody your age. Like keep the limit at like 21 if you're like 19. If you're 18, keep the limit at 20. Cuz they'll think the same way. They'll have the same body type. Well, not body type, but like body levels as you, so you don't die. But yeah, yeah. Just just don't get groomed. Wait until you're 21, so you don't get traumatized. So that's Ellie Day for you. So thank you for listening to this episode by the one and only Ellie Day Yun, not Ellie Day Dawn. So I will catch you later. Remember to check my sponsor, aka myself, EllieDayYun.com. Although I don't have any content out yet, But I am planning on making a series of web series, a mini series, a limited series, a short film, a film, feature film specifically. And then I'm going to do all that again, but animated. And then I'm going to do 15 video games, very generic of each genre, but I'm going to separate it from the rest of the competition with like lore and shit. And it's all going to be free with ad support on my website. So yeah, there you go. Don't get groomed. Be a superstar. And follow my podcast. Follow me on all social media of the same handle at Ellie Yun. No underscores, no anything, just my name and my last name. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you. Kisses.